Ama sikiza tune yako, bonyeza *81.
She outdo me in my divinity powder. Why did teacher keep praising and protecting her? I'm the best. No one's better than me. I'll definitely be her next time. I won't let her win again.
I can't give up on medicine. Besides, I've become the directress and have a teacher.
Miss Hung is a small potato. Why don't you just kill her? Or at least disfigure her.
Are you taking care of your mental health and those of your loved ones? Today is Mental Awareness Day, and we're focusing on the mental health of Kenyans and, of course, the stories of overcoming. And we also have the daily dose of politics as well, because, you know, Sunday is a heavy political day. Welcome to Sunday Express. I'm doing it alone for now. Serfine Achieng will be joining us later with her conversation on Family Sunday, so be sure not to miss that conversation. But for now, the highlights.
There is no shame in speaking up or in seeking help. As student leaders, we are determined to increase awareness and, importantly, reduce the stigma.
Kenya marks World Mental Health Day with calls on government to enhance awareness on the crisis to stem rising cases of suicide. Raila Odinga and Kalonzo Musyoka dismissed Deputy President William Ruto's acclaimed stranglehold on Mount Kenya. And 3 fishermen die after boat capsizes at Nyang'ira Beach in Homa Bay. Lensa Odingo is our sign language interpreter. My name is John Jacob Kioria. The conversation by Serfine Achieng later will be focusing on stillbirth, and she will be talking to Professor Joseph Karanja, who is an obstetrician and a gynecologist. That conversation comes up a little bit later. But for now, Kenya University students are calling on the government to enhance funding towards mental health awareness to curb the increase in suicide cases and depression among the youth. The students, through their leaders, want the government to be more deliberate in the approach on mental health issues by treating of a serious medical, or rather treating it as a serious medical concern and not a peripheral issue.
Power. The student leaders say the number of suicide cases among the youth, particularly university students, has been on the rise in recent months.
Suicides in Kenya rose by 58% between 2008 and 2017. And in our campuses, we have sadly seen an increase in suicides.
They said that in Kenya, 1 in every 10 people suffer from a common mental disorder, The number increases to 1 in every 4 people among patients attending routine outpatient services.
I would like to recognize the efforts of foundations and initiatives in universities, like peer counseling. There are institutions that have set foundations in universities where they are helping comrades to cope up with mental health problems. I would also like to extend my urge to the government and the community and non-governmental institutions to also help in acting within and for the solutions towards the mental health problems.
The students called on the government to review the progress of the Kenya mental health policy with a view of identifying gaps that need bridging.
We are also urging the president that policy formation is not a problem in this country. It is the enactment of these policies. So mental health policies should be considered.
In 2017, WHO ranked Kenya 5th among African countries with the highest number of depression cases. The report went further to show that there exist high levels of depression and suicidal behavior, high levels of mental distress, and substance use in Kenya. For Sunday Express, my name is Yusuf Hilo.
In a related story, lack of awareness, stigma, and misdiagnosis have been identified as some of the impediments in addressing mental health issues in the country. Survivors say overcoming mental health in an unequal world is no mean feat. Serfine Achieng spoke to Peter Waweru Muthumbi about his 2-decade struggle with depression and 4 suicide attempts.
My name is Waweru Muthumbi. I'm a mental health champion and advocate, currently working with basic needs, basic rights. I've lived with depression for 20 years, and it was diagnosed. It was first diagnosed in 2016, but it was never treated. A lot of things happened. I literally missed out on life, because I was so busy. You can imagine, I wake up in the morning, first thing I do at around 6 a.m. is to go look for changa.
It all started when he joined high school and felt abandoned by his family.
I kind of felt rejected. Kama nimetengwa. Like the family doesn't want me. So I think the depression started from there, because I remember taking my first sip of alcohol when I was in high school.
Waweru sunk into depression but camouflaged it with alcoholism and drug abuse.
I was that kind of person if we go for a family gathering, immediately after the meeting I become another meeting. Ongelesheni pita pombe yake, ongelesheni pombe yake. So people used to see me from an angle of alcoholism and drugs and substance abuse instead of trying to find out what has led me to that. And that is, I think so many people are going through that. When I went to the hospital, they kind of placed much of their focus on the drugs and substance abuse, and only diagnosed the depression but never treated it. For them, I think it was not a major thing. So I lived with it until the other month, the month of August, again on 26th. I had a very major breakdown and I had to go to the hospital, where I was now re-diagnosed with depression, and now I'm currently under medication for the same.
Existing in a society where stigma and lack of awareness about mental health was rife made his predicament worse.
This one I've seen with my family members, not knowing what I'm going through, and most of the time they'll downplay it by I'm seeking attention, especially when I'm suicidal. Like I can remember in all my attempts, I tried to raise the concern with my family members, and most of the time they will tell me, "Hapana Peter, wewe uko na mchezo mingi, wewe ni pombe." Most of the time, especially me as a man, I'll try to express myself, and it's normally played down by, you're a man, you're supposed to be strong, you're not supposed to be talking about your weaker side.
The more he sunk deep into this dark place, the more he wished never to come to the surface. He attempted suicide, not once, not twice, but 4 times.
That day, after doing my usual drinking and everything, I got paranoia, and I started seeing things that are not there. The way you there sit down there, you normally say unajita ka mkutano. So nilijita mkutano, and me, myself, and I came, and we had a meeting, and we analyzed my entire life, and I was like, there's nothing I'm living for. So I kind of felt nimefika mwisho, and there's no one I can share with my story.
According to the World Health Organization, nearly 3,000 people die of suicide daily. Waweru says mental health issues should be handled as an illness and not a lifestyle.
Let's say, for instance, you have malaria. What do you expect your family to do? To take you to a hospital? So with mental health, it's still the same.
World Mental Health Day is marked annually on 10th of October to raise awareness of mental health issues and to mobilize efforts in support of mental health.
Interesting story there of overcoming the story of Waweru, and of course the call to government to keep emphasizing on the need of mental health, and also behooves you to protect yourself and your loved ones. In politics now, Deputy President William Ruto has urged Kenyans to vet leaders and elect a president with a development track record come 2022. Ruto scoffed at the Mount Kenya Foundation that has been holding meetings with presidential aspirants, claiming their only interest is to support a candidate who will protect their wealth. Ruto, who was on a tour of Isiolo County, called on Kenyans to remain vigilant and identify a candidate with a sound policy on economic development. The Deputy President says Kenyans should elect a leader who is committed to transforming the lives of millions of ordinary citizens. Ruto calling on area residents to embrace his bottom-up economic model as a policy that will address the problems facing Kenyans currently.
Tunataka sisi wote kama watu wa taifa la Kenya tuwe na taifa ambalo linajenga usawa, ambayo hatuwachi watu wengine nyuma. Tuanze na wale ambao hawana kazi, tuwapangie mbinu na sera na mikakati ya vile watapata ajira. Na wale wenye biashara ndogo vile tutawasaidia wasihangaishwe na mashailok, wasiwekwe kwa CRB na Fuliza, waweze kufanya biashara, ndio tuweze kuinua Kenya yote pamoja.
The Deputy President once again berated the Mount Kenya Foundation over their recent meetings with ODM leader Raila Odinga and the One Kenya Alliance principles, accusing them of advancing personal interests to protect their wealth.
Sasa wale wanasema wanafanyia interview, wale wanataka kuwa rais wa kuchunga mali yao. Mimi nataka niwaambie, as you look for the people who will look after your wealth, these ordinary citizens are looking for a president who will get them jobs and who will create wealth so that they too can have something.
Mara hii tunajipanga na serikali ya mahasolas. Bishop, sisi hatusemi tajiri na maskini, lakini tunasema wanyonge.
Uchaguzi ujao ni katikati ya hasola na kitendawili. Watu ngapi ya hasola? Ngapi ya hasola? Kuambia watu wangu wa Isiolo ya kwamba mwanzo wa ngoma ni lele. Safari hii ni safari ya Hustlers Nation, tukipambana na wale jamaa kumi ambao wanakula sausage na kaimati kwa hoteli wakitaka kutupangia serikali.
And now ODM leader Raila Odinga says he does not need the permission from anyone to make inroads into the Mount Kenya region. In an apparent rejoinder to remarks made by the Deputy President William Ruto, Raila said his relationship with the mountain dates back to the pre-independence. Odinga spoke when he took his Azimio la Umoja campaign to Nyandarua and Laikipia counties.
Nawakaribisha hawa watu ambao wanatafuta network ya mulima. Wale wanatafutia Google Map wajue mulima iko wapi.
A day after Deputy President William Ruto laughed off Odinga's latest courtship with the mountain, Odinga has fired back.
Watu wengine jana wanabweka nasema ati Raila mpaka pati kibali kwao ndio aingie mlimani. Nataka kuwafundisha, Raila alipanda milima kitambo. Kwanza nilisema Kibaki tosha, mnakumbuka?
The race for the Mount Kenya vote is gaining momentum by the minute, with Raila now promising to give vulnerable families 6,000 shillings every month should he be elected as president.
Sasa mara hii tukishika serikali, tumesema tunaleta social welfare state katika taifa letu, ambaye wale watu ambaye hawana maskini wanapata msaada kutoka kwa serikali. Kila familia itakuwa inapata shilingi 6,000 kila mwezi.
In what has become part and parcel of his message, Raila said he would slay the ghost of corruption.
Tung'oe kupe. Mtaka tung'oe kupe? Tuwapeleke nyumbani. Wangapi wako tayari kung'oa kupe nione kwa mkono?
Raila Odinga, who is yet to declare his interest for the presidency, has developed a particular interest in the Mount Kenya region many analysts believe has the key to unlocking every presidential potential.
Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka has dismissed claims that Deputy President William Ruto holds the Mount Kenya vote. Speaking in Rai, the Wiper leader said that having hailed from the eastern part of Mount Kenya, he needs no introduction in central Kenya. Kalonzo dismissed Ruto's claim that One Kenya Alliance's agenda was to defeat him, saying the alliance is focused on fighting corruption that has crippled the economy and diminished employment opportunities for the youth.
Jamaa moja akasema ukitaka kuclimb Mount Kenya unapitia kwake. And that the authority Jesus had was nobody goes to the Father except by me. But politically I think we all can climb from the mountain. Yaani mtu hawezi kusema ukitaka kuclimb mlima pitia kwake. Kuna watu wanafunguo za kuelekea sehemu fulani Kenya hii. Nirudie niseme jamaa ya Mount Kenya, mimi na wenzangu katika One Kenya Alliance, we are demystifying tribalism and we are saying you have to lead as a team. We are united against ufisadi. Kama wana oka, if there's one thing you can write and I can give you a
Looks like Mount Kenya is that beautiful political bride. Now, who owns her? Quite an interesting conversation that will shape up in the coming days. National Assembly Speaker Justin Muturi has maintained that he is not anyone's political project. Muturi says the notion being propagated by his political detractors will not deter his quest to serve Kenyans as the next president.
Justin Muturi is fighting to shrug off the notion that he is being fronted by some unknown forces to vie for president. Muturi maintains that he is his own man.
Wale ambao wamefanya hii mambo ya siasa ndio biashara yao. Tafadhali wacheni kuniweka katika ile kikapu inaitwa project. I am nobody's project. I want to be God's project and the people's project.
Muturi once again hitting out at the Mount Kenya Foundation, saying it cannot purport to speak on behalf of the mountain.
It's healthy in this game. And what I believe in is fairness. Let everybody get a chance to come and explain themselves out, explain what it is that they would want to do. Moja aangaliwe, achunguzwe. Na wale watachunguza ni nyinyi wenyewe wananchi wa Kenya.
Meanwhile, Mandera gubernatorial aspirant Hassan Nur Hassan has hinted that leaders in northern region are awaiting direction from President Uhuru Kenyatta on who they are to vote for as his successor.
Sisi kama Wakenya tunajua kwamba viongozi wengi watajitokeza kutafuta kura katika nyadhifa ya kirais. Lakini tunajua ya kwamba Mheshimiwa Rais ndio atatuelekeza, na nina hakika ya kwamba tutafanya mpango ya kuhakikisha ya kwamba tumepata kiongozi ambaye anayetufaa.
Elsewhere, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission has been urged to work round the clock and avert all forms of electoral malpractice. The United Green Movement says politics of division has no place in Kenya.
The 2022 election is going to be a heavily contested election. They must put their best foot forward. One, they need to fast-track issues of civic education right now, which they've failed to do. We have 10 months to the election. We'd like to see a program in place of the IEBC putting in civic education in place. Number two, we'd like to see IEBC move together as a team in a manner that ensures that we're going to have a free and fair election.
Reporting for Sunday Express, I'm Jackie Wambiru.
From politics to a rather sad story. 3 fishermen died while 2 others survived after their boat capsized in Nyagina Beach near Bita Causeway in Suba North Constituency, Homa Bay County. The men were on their routine fishing expedition when the accident occurred. Confirming the incident, Mbita Sub-County Police Commander Stanley Atavachi said the 2 survivors swam to safety in the 1 a.m. incident.
5 fishermen from Kombe Beach were on their way to Kuguna Beach for their routine fishing activities when their boat capsized in strong winds. Mbita Sub-County Commissioner Stanley Atavachi said 3 people died in the 1 a.m. incident, while 2 others swam to the rescue of fellow fishermen.
Walikuwa wanaenda pahali inaitwa Kuna on fishing expedition, but as they approached Mbita Causeway, they encountered strong winds, which forced their boat to capsize. 2 managed to swim to safety, while 3 others drowned. So the boat was found intact. The police, the Coast Guard, and the local divers are on site. So far, we have retrieved 1 body. The rescue team is on site.
1 body has so far been retrieved, and the search mission has been intensified to retrieve the 2 other bodies. Local leaders led by Homa Bay County Woman Rep Gladys Wanga and local Member of Parliament Millie Odhiambo visited the scene and condoled with the bereaved families. County Commissioner Moses Leland warned that legal action would be taken against boat operators who ventured into the lake without requisite training and licensing, as well as wearing life jackets by all the lake users. Barely 2 weeks ago, 8 people died in yet another boat tragedy off the coast of Homa Bay town. The incident raising serious queries over the safety of persons in Lake Victoria. For Sunday Express, I'm Gladys Mungai.
All right, time for us to take our very first breather on Sunday Express. But when we come back, we'll tell you about the COVID-19 situation in the country and an update on something quite embarrassing. The results of the Harambee Stars Mali game return match today. I'll miss the details.
The National Treasury and Planning is inviting members of the public to participate in the public hearings for the 2022-2023 financial year and medium-term budget proposals from 13th to 15th October 2021 at the KICC Amphitheatre Hall. Various sectors will give their presentations during the hearings that will run from 9 a.m. each day. Be part of the budget-making process by giving your views and recommendations on the budget either physically or virtually via a link that will be provided on the National Treasury website and official social media platforms. Public participation is one of the key principles underpinning budget preparation process, and you are encouraged to participate. For more details, visit our website at www.treasury.go.ke.
Every night since you came back, silali. Kwa nini? Because you have nightmares.
Mama, utaniua mwenzio bwana.
Hicho unachokitafuta utakipata tu.
Tafuta mwili mwingine uutumie. Sitaki kutumiwa.
Stress za biashara.
Biashara nani?
Umekumbuka kwenu au umesahau kitu?
Ama namkosea kwa kuja hapa?
Welcome back. You're watching Sunday Express. The International Commission of Jurists, ICJ Kenya, is calling for the abolition of the death penalty in Kenya. This comes as the world marks the 10th of October against the death penalty, with this year's theme dubbed Women Behind Bars and the Invisible Reality, with the main focus being on women on death row. Serfine Robi walks us through the legal aspect of capital punishment in Kenya and the world.
the last known Kenyan to have been executed in 1987 after being sentenced to death for treason alongside Pancras Oteyo Okumu. Ochuka was accused of planning and executing the 1982 military coup and ruled Kenya for 6 hours. Countries that execute persons sentenced to death use firing squad, hanging, electrocution, lethal injections, being boiled alive, burnt to the stake, among others. According to Amnesty International, the year 2020 saw most known executions take place in China, Iran, Egypt, Iraq and Saudi Arabia. In 1987, Kenya established a moratorium on execution, commuting such sentences to life imprisonment.
In Kenya, the death penalty is not practiced. The death execution is not handed down. However, the death sentence is still being handed down. So this makes Kenya a de facto abolitionist.
Raising awareness on the plight of convicts on death row led to the recognition of the October 10th as the World Day Against Death Penalty. The event seeks to abolish death penalty.
It's a day set aside to remember the plight of victims, to highlight the plight of victims who are on death row, and to also urge states which are yet to abolish the death penalty, including countries like Kenya, to abolish the death penalty.
Progress on this front was made in Kenya in 2017 when Francis Muratitu and Wilson Mwangi appealed against the death sentence, and the Supreme Court declared the mandatory nature of the death penalty as unconstitutional.
The decision, and reaffirmed that, the decision that was rendered by the Supreme Court was not to the extent that it abolished the death penalty in Kenya. It did not abolish the death sentence in Kenya, because the issue was the constitutionality of the mandatory nature and not the constitutionality of the death penalty in Kenya.
Focusing on women on death row in this year's theme is relevant, as for over 1,000 inmates on death sentence in Kenya, 598 are women.
Impact of the death sentence on both male and female are actually different. So there's a variation in the gendered impact of the death sentence. That's why this year we've narrowed down on women.
In a continent where 9 countries still undertake executions, Kenya's efforts are laudable, even though there is still room for improvement.
Even the state has actually taken some efforts, deliberate steps towards commuting sentences. This started with Mwai Kibaki, I think around 2009, where he commuted a number of persons who were on death row to life imprisonment. And similarly, his predecessor, President Uhuru Kenyatta, I think around 2015-2016, commuted a number of persons who were on death row, about 2,474 persons, to life imprisonment. So there are certain steps that the state is actually taking towards abolition of the death penalty.
The United Nations system as a whole opposes the use of death penalty in all circumstances. As different organizations and civil societies continue to push for legislative reforms on the death penalty, all offenders that had been subjected to the mandatory death sentence, including those that had been convicted and sentenced prior to 2010 who are serving commuted sentence, are eligible for resentencing, according to directions issued by the Supreme Court on the Muratitu case. Serfine Robi for Sunday Express.
It's got an interesting story here. Detectives in Nyali, Mombasa, are investigating an incident in which 3 senior officials from the Kisumu County government were drugged. Police say they're holding a woman in connection with the incident. The woman is reported to have mistakenly drugged herself in the process.
The officials were found unconscious at Shikara Apartments in Nyali, Mombasa County, after their drink was allegedly spiked and their property stolen. The DCI said the 3 are responding well to treatment and a woman has been placed in custody. Meanwhile, herders from Samburu and Pokot communities at Malaso area in Samburu Central Sub-County have been urged to put aside their tribal differences and embrace peaceful coexistence.
Nataka kama wafugaji tuanze kuheshimu maisha ya binadamu. Ile Mungu ametuumba na ametupatia uhai, let us just to value life.
Elsewhere, Garissa Township MP Aiden Duale says Kenya does not need a referendum to increase resources to the counties.
Mr. Raila Odinga hauhitaji kubadilisha sheria. Kama unataka kupatia Garissa na county zote 50%, hauhitaji kubadilisha katiba ya Kenya. Unahitaji kuleta mswada bunge, na mimi nikiwa former majority leader tutapitisha one afternoon.
In Jomvu, Mombasa County, more than 4,500 students have benefited from bursary to facilitate their return to school next week.
Kila mwezi kila shule iletoa chakula kwa shule, watoto wetu wale free of charge na wasome wende shuleni bila kulipa hata ndururu.
The bursary comes as a relief to parents who had expressed fears that their children may not report back to school due to lack of fees. Finally, the Isiolo County government has commenced the distribution of food to some 20,000 drought-stricken residents in the area.
Tuko hapa kuzindua chakula ya kutosha, hasa kwa familia ambao wameathirika zaidi.
The county boss has, however, cautioned officers in charge of the relief food distribution against engaging in any form of malpractice when distributing the food to the targeted households. Jacqueline Masharia for Sunday Express.
Before we head over to the interview, let's get into the pitch and do some sports. The national soccer team, Harambee Stars, lost 1-0 to Eagles of Mali in their 2022 FIFA World Cup qualifiers return match played Sunday at the Nyayo National Stadium. The result mathematically ends Harambee Stars' march to Qatar in 2022.
Inferior charges gave their best in the early exchanges but failed to convert clear-cut chances. Mali's hitman Ibrahim Koni scored the lone goal.
Kenya's Eric Kiptanui settled for that position.
About 7 minutes and 1 second. We're still looking well.
The national women's hockey team head coach Jackie Jao says players are responding well to training ahead of the Africa Cup of Nations slated for January 2022 in Accra, Ghana. Meanwhile, Kenya Police A and Strathmore B are the winners of the Kenya Hockey 5-a-side tournament held at the City Park Stadium.
Speaking at the sidelines of the Kenya Hockey 5-a-side tournament, the former Kenyan international said the return of competitive hockey will play a critical role in sharpening the national teams. The tactician said the Kenya Hockey 5-a-side tournament gives them an opportunity to scout for upcoming players. However, she was quick to note that the COVID-19 pandemic has greatly affected national teams' preparations.
We've had people moving back to up country, and so it's been very hard even to get the players on the ground. But I think with what I can see here today, I think we are back and we are back on track. I think this attests to what we can do as a country. If we can bounce back and still play quality hockey, then it's good.
Her sentiments were echoed by the national men's team assistant coach Michael Malungu, who said despite disruption brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic, they must step up training ahead of upcoming international assignments.
It has affected the teams because we have challenges where, just like the rest of the Kenyans, economically we are not doing well. And then even now training and meeting the requirements of the protocols is also a challenge.
Malungu revealed that the men's team will be trimmed from 40 to 25 players in the next few months as they intensify training ahead of the Africa Cup of Nations. The men's team last appeared at the Africa Cup of Nations in 2019 in South Africa, finishing 5th, while the ladies' team finished 4th overall.
Top Kenyan chess players have produced outstanding performances to take command as the Mombasa Open International Chess Tournament kicked off at Mombasa Continental Resort. Over 250 players have registered for the event.
Kenya's top players Joseph Methu, Ben Nguku and Ramesh Vasanth won all their 3 opening rounds of the open section to remain in the title race. Ugandan Haruna also made a good start after winning his 3 rounds to cling onto board one of the open sections. However, it was a bad start for defending champion Mehul Gohil, who was disappointed in his first round after losing to Samuel Wanjala in a tight time control when he arrived late at the event. In the ladies section, all was not well after Kenya's reigning champion Jumba Gloria lost to Kimani Wanjiru in one of the most interesting games of the tournament. After 3 rounds, ladies defending champion Dafin Mwikali, Madelta Glenda and Obondo Cynthia bagged 3 points each to take the lead on day 1.
Yeah, in December we are expected to host Africa Schools. These are continental events where 47 countries will be in attendance. And of course, after that, we'll have national championship. As you are aware, last year we came for a car, and this year also the winner will be driving away with a car.
We are also going to award various entities, that is corporates, universities, and schools. And generally, we want to see how best we can move chess to the next level.
This is the biggest open event so far. It's a good warm-up for what's coming up next. Next week I shall be jetting out with the Kenyan team for the World Amateur Championships in Greece. And then, of course, in December we have the big event, which is the Kenya National Championships, which is another title which I'm hoping to defend as well.
The event will end on Monday with the finals and award ceremony.
Leisure Lodge Golf Resort's Ken Dege carded at a round of 38 points to claim the overall win of his home club's leg of the ongoing NCBA Golf Series. He finished the day 3 points better than fellow club mate Tony Venturini, who carded a round of 35 points to claim the winner's position in the men's category ahead of Van Kamper, who ended the round with 34 points. Kerry Venturini won the ladies category after carding 34 points ahead of Caroline Mokaya, who carded 32 points on the day. The Leisure Lodge event was the 17th on the 2021 NCBA Golf Series, which attracted the participation of 100 golfers. This now takes to over 2,300 golfers who have taken part in this series since the inception in January this year.
I think the first few holes were quite good, but things became a bit hectic in terms of getting the swings right, missing pars here and there. But all in all, it was a lovely round. These are people I've never met before, so we enjoyed the conversation on the course.
And now Tyson Fury consolidated his place at the Summit of Boxing when he knocked out Deontay Wilder in the 11th round to defend the WBC heavyweight title at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Fury dropped Wilder in the 3rd round, then came off the floor twice in the 4th round before roaring back with knockdown to the 10th end of the 11th when referee Russell Moura intervened with a determined Wilder still trying to make it to his feet to continue. Fury ultimately overwhelmed Wilder to remain undefeated.
And he's got the big guys, so he's doing a lot of pushing.
Wilder! Judo shot! Down goes Fury! Wilder with the answer! Big right hand from Fury.
Wilder's got to get...
Down goes Fury again!
He's hurt, fellas.
Oh! Wow!
And out.
It's time to put a cap on this end, but before I do that, a quick update on the COVID-19 infection rate dropping to 2.9% after 95 people tested positive for the disease. The Ministry of Health says the cases were confirmed from a sample size of 3,334 tested in the last 24 hours. Now, the total number of confirmed cases are 251,152. I'm handing you over to the safe hands of Serfine Achieng, who is talking to Professor Joseph Karanja. The focus is on stillbirth. My name is John Jacob Kioria. I will leave you in the hands of Serfine Achieng until Wednesday when I see you on Prime Edition. My sign language interpreter tonight has been Lensa Odengo. Good night and enjoy your week.
The latest joint report by UNICEF, the World Health Organization, the World Bank, and the United Nations, dubbed a neglected tragedy, the global burden of stillbirths, indicates that globally about 2 million stillbirths occur every year. Now, if you do the math, that translates to nearly 5,400 stillbirths every day. For many, this may just be numbers, but what do these numbers mean for the millions of parents who have labored in vain only to welcome a lifeless baby? Let's sink into the world of Christina Dhiambo and her husband Kevin Otieno, who began their journey into parenthood on this sad note. 29-year-old Christina Dhiambo and her husband Kelvin Otieno have walked the dark path. They invite me into their humble home in Mwiki area of Kasarani in Nairobi. Watching them spend a light family moment with their daughter, one cannot tell the pain they went through after losing their firstborn son at 39 weeks of pregnancy. All was well for Christine during her pregnancy journey, not until she was almost due for delivery.
So dakika ya mwisho nilikuwa nasikia tumbo ni mzito. Nikikaa nasikia uzito. Nikilala na side moja naona ni kama ni mawe imewekwa imeachiliwa side moja. Nikiamka tena naona ni kama inaenda side nyingine. So sikuwa najua nini na happen.
Regardless of the complications, she went into labor and was pregnant with hope of bringing her baby into this world. Little did they know that their excitement would be short-lived.
Nikapack manguo, diapers, vitu za hosi, zile zinatakikana. I was so happy. Niko kwa labor naenda kuzaa. And I knew that my baby is coming. So nikamwambia mtu yeye anakam. Pia nikaona amefurahia. Anakuja akachukua bag, tukachukua akaita taxi. Tukaenda kwa that hospital.
Tulipofika hosi nasa alipoenda kuangalia aka notice. Ni kama ali notice something fishy. So at the back of my mind mimi nilikuwa na zile za vitu tu ziko poa. So tukaenda scan.
Kwenda kwa scan kuangalia heartbeat ya mtoto hakuna. Mtoto ashafika kuzaliwa, njia inafunguka, lakini heartbeat yake hakuna. Mimi sasa nikabukiwa niko ndani ya labor, akatoka nje akaambia mzee kuko hivi, mtoto ndio bibi ako kwa labor but lose mtoto alipass kwa tumbo na hata kupass lea sai alipass kitambo.
Giving birth to a lifeless baby pushed her to her breaking point.
I thank God hiyo time ilifika nikazaa. Mtoto akatoka baby boy. Mtoto mkubwa mzuri, anafanana na babake kabisa. Nikaekewa hapo kando. I couldn't believe. Sikuwa naamini. What was going on? Juu hata akitoka na remember umbilical cord ilikuwa imemzunguka kichwa mara 3. So nasa akambeba juu hivi akaniambia Christine, hii ndio ilinyonga mtoto. Mpaka nikamwambia na jaribu kumtoa tuone kama atapumua. Unaona ile hope. Sikuwa na mtoto mkubwa. Jaribu kutoa tuone kama mtoe. Akamtoa. Akaniambia huyo ameenda Christine, ameenda. Hata akisimamishwa hivi, ameshikwa hivi, ameenda, hayuko. Sikuamini.
Reality struck when they left the hospital without the expected bundle of joy. That journey back home was long and hard.
I remember nikimtoa hosi naona mtu mwingine amekuja kuchukua wife yake na mtoi, and then mimi narudi tu na hizo mzigo zangu nikiingiza kwa gari tukirudi home. It was really sad.
So kurudi kwa hao sasa ndo sasa reality sasa ikanigonga vizuri. Nilitoka hapa nikiwa na ball na umwa, nimerudi kwa nyumba peke yangu. Niko na mauchungu, maziwa ndo hiyo, matiti imefura. Sasa hapa kwa nyumba nilikuwa nikikaa nione suitcase vitu nilibai za mtoi ama zile vitu tulitoka nazo hosi nikirudisha kwa suitcase ilinimaliza.
What added salt to their injury was the misinformation and stigma around stillbirth, which left them isolated and trapped in their personal grief.
After hapo tulipoteza friends wengi. Hakuna mtu alikuwa anakuja kwetu. We grieve tukiwa tu wawili.
Some people normally think that wanaume ulia sana, and naweza kumbuka zile time nilikuwa kwa bafu, every time nilikuwa niko peke yangu nilikuwa nalia. Mimi kuhili kwangu haikuwa rahisi. I ended even asking for a transfer.
They are quick to admit that the pain of losing an unborn child cannot be underestimated. And so how did they manage to come out of this invisible pain?
I thank God for him both, kwa sababu hakuwa iniacha. Hata akiwa job atanipigia every time. Uko sawa? Umekula? Unafeel aje? Saa zingine yeye anapika, ananifanyia vitu zile za kunikeep. Na feel niko na mtu karibu, kitu imetupata sisi wote. Siko peke yangu.
After months of struggling to heal from the immeasurable pain of losing their child, Christine got pregnant, and she says, once bitten, twice shy. This time she knew she will not take any chances.
Sasa kungoja dakika mwisho ati niumwe kabisa ndo niende hospitali. Vile nilianza tu kuumwa hivi, nikaenda hosi. Nikabukiwa in for CS, emergency CS. Nikafanyiwa. Siku imagine kusikia mtoto analia. Kubeba mtoto for the first time. Doctors wakaniuliza, Christine, here is your girl. Alikwambia huyu ni neema. Huyu ni neema ya Mungu.
Neema wiped the tears of her parents, and 2 years since she was born, Tina and Kelvin are expecting their 3rd child. They can only hope that this journey will end with a bundle of joy. 20 million babies are projected to be stillborn in the next decade if trends observed between 2000 and 2019 continue. That is according to the latest joint report by UNICEF, the World Health Organization and World Bank. Professor Joseph Karanja is a gynecologist, and he now joins us live via Zoom to discuss how we can stop this surge in the cases of stillbirth. Thank you so much, Daktari, for creating time for us. Now let's begin straight away by just, explaining to us what stillbirth is and some of the common causes.
Thank you, Serfine, for inviting me to this program to talk about stillbirths. A stillbirth is a baby who is born after the age of viability of pregnancy, that is after about 20 weeks to term, who is born dead and does not show signs of life. The causes are many. High blood pressure or hypertension is one of the commonest ones. Diabetes is another one. And that's why it is important that before a woman contemplates a pregnancy, to have a thorough checkup by a trained healthcare provider. And if there are conditions known to increase the risk of stillbirth, to be controlled or treated before they conceive. There are stillbirths that occur because of pre-existing conditions in the woman, and others that will occur from conditions that occur during pregnancy. Situations such as trauma, maybe from road, traffic accidents, or even beatings, can also cause stillbirths from the damage to the uterus or interruption of the attachment of the placenta.
So, Daktari, once a pregnancy has been termed as high risk, what do you advise as the immediate steps to take to increase the chances of survival of the baby?
The healthcare providers will put the woman who is at high risk of getting a stillbirth into a surveillance program where blood tests will be done, including blood group, hemoglobin, certain infections, viral infections, and other and bacterial diseases will be screened for and treated where found.
It really must be a traumatizing experience to take the patient through that, pain without gain, having lost a child. What is it like, and what would you tell the patient in terms of their expectations in their healing journey?
Once a stillbirth has occurred, the woman needs psychosocial support from the family and the community and the healthcare providers, because she will be in a grieving situation. She will need support to protect her from getting a mental breakdown from the excessive or too severe grieving process.
So, Daktari, usually after the loss of a baby, we are fond of telling people, utapata mwingine, you're still young. Is it that easy? And what are some of the things that a couple should consider before they decide whether or when to have another child?
Once a woman has recovered from the stillbirth process, she has to space another pregnancy if she so desires to get another baby. This is generally recommended for all women who have had a delivery or a stillbirth to have some rest before they have another pregnancy. This time we'll also be taking to do thorough checkups to see whether any causes of stillbirth may be identified and treated before this time, before another pregnancy is started.
Thank you so much, Daktari, once again for your time. Now, ever wondered what to do when you're supporting someone who has just lost a child through stillbirth? What is the right thing to say, or what is the right thing to do? Well, Wanjiru Kihusa, the founder of Still a Mom, an organization that supports family through this kind of loss, has this to say.
Physical presence is very important. Like, it cannot, there's nothing that can replace physical presence. You can send money, you can send texts, you can send everything. You can be an amazing friend from afar, but when you show up, there's a way that friends really feel your presence at that time. And while you're there, like, understand what logistics are currently going on, because it is while you're there you will notice, oh, they're organizing a burial, they need somebody to do XYZ, they need to run someone to run an errand. Then discover where they are. Sometimes they want to talk about what happened to them, sometimes they don't want to talk about what happened to them. I mean, it's a sad moment, but so what will happen is that we will usually feel like the need to talk and talk and talk. And what that does is that we end up saying some really insensitive stuff. So we'll be over there saying, oh, don't worry, you guys are young, you'll have another child. Oh, it's God's will, God knew. I mean, we find ourselves saying all this stuff in the effort to comfort. A lot of moms and dads who've lost a child will always tell you, nobody ever said something to me that was mean on purpose. But there's just that need to always say something. Don't get that pressure. So so just come and sit in that awkwardness, and then participate in major milestones for them. Like, for example, one of the things a lot of women struggle with is you had bought the shopping, so there are all these baby clothes in the house. Going over at a friend's house to help them deal with that, like, it could be that they are folding and putting them away, they are giving them out, is actually a very big deal, and it's something that they would actually have to break down doing. But now while you're there, they feel more strengthened to do it. And then finally, do not rush your friends to grieve. Don't be like, hey Bana, it's been like 6 months, why haven't you moved on, why are we still crying, what's wrong with you? People grieve so differently, and go easy on people, be patient with them, do not rush them. And if you can find a way to remember their child, don't feel awkward about it, and remind them whenever they want to talk about it.
There you have it. Sometimes just your physical presence is more than enough. Be bold next time and stand with a parent who hoped to receive their bundle of joy but went home empty, drowning in their ocean of tears. And for you, mommy and daddy, wipe your tears. Your pain was not in vain after all. Dead or alive, you're still a parent to your baby, and your bond remains unbreakable. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good night.
College. Vera Beauty and Fashion College, with branches in Nairobi, Eldoret, Thika and Meru. Did you know that we are a TVET approved institution? We offer courses in fashion design, interior design in soft furnishing, event decoration, flower arrangement, event planning, hairdressing, barbering and dreadlocks, beauty therapy, makeup, nail technology, spa massages, teaching skills, TOT, solo business management, and many more. Register now and visit our website on www.verabeautycollege.com. You can also call on 0725-923-550 Nairobi branch, 0728-087-689 Eldoret branch, 0722-227428 Thika branch, 0725-000-706 Meru branch. Vera Beauty and Fashion College, a TVET approved institution.
Ili kupata sikiza tune hii ya kibeti, bonyeza star 811 star 962 hash.
Umefanya vizuri sana kunifikia hii simu sasa. Nimekuwa na stress kutoka asubuhi kabisa.
Na ni huyu mtu ambaye alikuwa anapatiana majina ya vitu. Kwani hakutufikiria sisi watu wa Eastern Ukambani? Ni nani alisema ati wife kwa Kiswahili ni mke? Na akasema ati handbaka. Hii inabebwa na mwanamke handbaka. Ati kwa Kiswahili ni kibeti. Huko kwetu mke ndiye kibeti.
Ili kupata sikiza tune hiyo ya kibeti, bonyeza *811 *962 hash. *811 *962 hash. Welcome to the home of the fastest line.
Odi bets.
Boosted odds.
Odi bets.
The best bonuses.
Odi bets.
Instant payout.
Odi bets.
Push. And even cashback.
Odi bets.
Odi bets. Bet extraordinary.
It came out positive.
But that ain't gonna stop the love I feel for your daughter.
Don't you dare come close to my daughter.
I will completely stand by my decision. And I will prove to you that you're wrong about him, Dad. Your life is your life, but my life is none of your business, and you should respect that. That is not a warning or a threat. I am the daughter of the man that you tried to kill before.
Stop playing with Emiliano and tell him the truth.
Victoriano, please stop. I said that's enough. We have to ask him where we can find Emiliano.
Niko na cancer. So the cancer itself, it's skin cancer. After the results zilitoka, ina affect white blood cells. Inakula white blood cells, but penye inatokea ina affect the skin. So sahi naweza kuwa na kidonda, it will take a longer time to heal.
Hiyo kitu iliniuma. Nikikumbuka mtoto wangu aliniambia kuna mtu alimuona akatoroka mahali alikuwa. Sasa una imagine uko kwa gari na mtu anakutorokea. Nikimagine ati huyo mama aliambiwa asikulie kwa hoteli. Hata alienda tu kwa corridor akaambia mama yake, "Juu mimi niko na shida, wacha nikushwale. Unafikiria na mimi niko kwa hiyo nini? Unafikiria nasikia aje kama mzazi?" Hiyo inaumanga.